At the core of the listener, there is, of course, a reflection about mental illness and how these last few years have increased on emotional instability in many people. Do you think cinema has the duty to talk about mental illness and social issue? And do you think that your movie, in a certain way, is a little political act?
Well, I've always loved character-driven movies and movies that address, problems that people have. And when I read this script, I just loved the main character of Beth, what she was doing for other people. I think that these issues, these mental health issues, have been with us for a long time. I think the pandemic brought everything to the forefront. And what gives me hope is that maybe people are reaching out more, and that there's people like Beth in the world who do the work that they do. I don't know that if we have a duty to, address these things, but I'm always glad when these issues are addressed in a meaningful way and in an entertaining way. So that's why I just speak for myself. I looked at the script. I love the story. I love the characters. Yeah, I love what it's about.
You consider listening as a superpower. In your opinion, why have we forgotten how to listen to each other? Because it is a fact that we became more aggressive, and I think about social media. We communicate a lot, but we don't listen to each other. We scream to each other.
I think because it is so ubiquitous, social media, that people feel like they have to be loud to be heard. I'm not on social media. And I do think, listening is important, or taking a breath and not being so reactive to everything that happens. But this is the age that we live in, and we always have to adjust to the technology that is available to us, positive and negative.
Tessa Thompson is impressive, and I really love how she works with tiny gestures, tiny expressions to let the audience understand what she's feeling. I would like to know, how did you work with her? Because I read that this movie was shot just in 7 days, and she interacts just with voices all over the movie.
Yeah.
How did you work with her on set? Did you have the chance to talk with her earlier?
Oh, yeah, no, we talked about it on Zoom, before we got to meet in person. And we talked about how Beth's character, because the callers are not seeing her, she could have whatever reaction she wants, but not, big. But as long as her voice was not betraying her emotion, so that the caller doesn't know, she is speaking without judgment but of course it affects her. And that was another thing that was interesting to me, was how these calls, how these workers do this job. And then of course later she breaks protocol and reveals a lot more about herself, but in service to help the person that she's talking with, played by Rebecca Hall, who is amazing too.
I really love how this movie reminds me also about a theatrical play. I thought that it could be a great theatrical play.
Yeah.
And I would like to know, how did you work visually to create a visual rhythm with the directing?
Well, I worked closely with my DP, Anka, and my production designer, Maboni, and also with Tessa. We talked about it, and the location was a really important part of the whole process. It's almost like another character in the film, and it's Beth's world that she created for herself, and I wanted her to be able to move around and to find an apartment that had a nice flow to it, and also an outdoor space so that she can go outside, and that she would not be confined to just one spot. That was really important to us, to make it as cinematic as we could.
And in order to better understand bad characters and Alessandro Camone's screenplay, did you have the chance to talk with some helpline volunteer or to maybe do some research to...
We did talk with the helpline volunteer just about the protocols of how it works, some of which we used, some of which we felt maybe didn't serve our purposes because we wanted Beth to be able to move around. But it made sense that she works at home, especially since the pandemic. A lot of these workers do now work at home. And then I also called one of the lines just to see what it would be like. And I found it really helpful for what was going on in my life. It was a 15-minute call. I never said who I was. I'll never know who this person was. But it was just, first of all, just really personally helpful. And then, of course, it informed the film as well.
We are in a movie festival in Venice, and in the last few years, cinema has been living in a sort of a crisis moment. In Europe, people doesn't go to cinema really often. In Italy especially, we have this issue with people that prefer to watch movies on platform instead of going to cinema. In your opinion, which is the meaning of a movie festival today? Not just because of we are here talking with directors and actors, but also for the audience, for you, which is the meaning of a movie festival?
I've always loved going to festivals. This is the first time in years that I've been to a festival where I actually came early enough to see the films. And I really miss that. You know, when I first started getting work, you know, when Reservoir Dogs and In the Soup were both in Sundance at the same time. And people didn't know who I was, and I was able to like see a lot of screenings, and I didn't need to do a lot of press. So that's all, you know, I mean, that's changed, and I'm grateful. But I love seeing movies at a festival with an audience because they really want to be there. They're really looking forward to seeing the film, and they appreciate the fact that the film was even made. And so there's nothing like experiencing a film on a big screen with an audience. That said, there's so much competition out there. I'm glad that they're streaming. I'm glad that there's other ways that films can be seen, and so as long as we're reaching an audience.
What impressed you the most about Canova's screenplay? Because we saw you behind the camera for some episode of TV series, but it was a while you didn't direct a feature film.
I've been trying to direct films. It's just hard, you know. I mean, one, I'm busy as an actor, and then it's hard to get some projects off the ground. When this came, it seemed very doable. The fact that it was one character that we see and basically one location. But more than that, it was just, I really felt like the story had to be told, and I felt so lucky that it came to me. I think it's just, it's got so much humanity in it, and I just wanted to be a part of it.
And did you have Tessa in your mind all over the process, or did you have...
When I first read it, I didn't have anybody in mind, but then when I started talking about it with my producers, we all had Tessa at the top of our list. And so we sent it to her first, and she responded. And,
Thank you so much for your time. Thank you.
Appreciate it.